RHOBH Brandi Glanville obsessed with Trainwreck Season 14. RHOBH alum Brandi Glanville is obsessed with Trainwreck Season 14. Though she has not been a regular on the show since Season 5, she has made guest appearances over the years. Now the scorned Bravalev has some words about the current cast and season. Keep reading for further details. Brandi Glanville obsessed with Trainwreck Season 14. When Brandi Glanville joined RHOBH, she was struggling a lot. She had lost her husband to affairs and even had to contend with a server who slept with him. A young Sheena Shea was an employee of co-star Lisa Vanderpump's at her restaurant, Villa Blanca. From there, she moved to SUR and the spin-off Vanderpump Rules, but she had an affair with Brandi's husband, Eddie Cibrian. Brandi hated always running into Skeena, but they did have a sit-down at LVP's urging. From there, Brandi left her mark on the show, doing and saying outlandish things with no regard for others. She exited the show, but would come back as she was close with the Richards sisters. Her last big moment on RHOBH was what she shared that she had slept with Denise Richards. No one knew what to make of that, and then it came out on a lavish trip. It made Denise opt to leave the show after 2 seasons, though she has also returned for a few episodes in Season 13. Brandi went on to do 2 seasons of RHUGT, but the last one, she claimed ended her career as she was accused of sexual assault against Caroline Manzo. Her life has been turned upside down, and Brandi has openly said the Housewives franchise is over. However, according to Reality Blurb, she has some thoughts on Season 14 of RHOBH, and they aren't all bad. That being said, the mother of 2 confessed that she can't stop watching, so she clearly loves to hate it. Now, what are Brandi Glanville's thoughts on the cast? She compares Dorit Kemsley to herself. A setup for Dorit. Brandi Glanville and Dorit Kemsley did not work full-time together, but they have filmed briefly in the past. Yet this season, Dorit has grabbed Brandi's attention. At the same time, Brandi believes that all of the work Dorit is doing is a setup by production. She is not calling OG and co-star Kyle Richards out organically as viewers may believe. Currently, Brandi is dealing with an alleged parasite in her face, which she claims she caught in Morocco. That was where she filmed the 4th season of RHUGT, and things went horribly wrong with Caroline Manzo. Her health has taken a dip, and she even lost 5 teeth from it all. Now she is back on a better track, at least she claims she is. Brandi Glanville had always prided herself on being a truth teller, even when it hurt. And truth be told, nothing hurt quite like watching the proverbial house of cards collapse in Beverly Hills. Season 14 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was shaping up to be a train wreck of epic proportions, and Brandi, as ever, was glued to the carnage. She curled up on her plush velvet sofa, a half-empty glass of Sauvignon Blanc in hand, her phone lighting up with notifications from fans, frenemies, and cast members alike. Ever since rumors leaked that Brandi had returned to film a few episodes, because honestly, could any RHOB scandal truly unfold without her? She'd been inundated with questions. And boy, did she have answers. But for now, she'd let the episodes do the talking. Or at least she told herself she would. The first episode had aired just a few days ago, and the fallout had been immediate. Kyle Richards, the ever-glossy queen of self-preservation, was under fire for her increasingly public marriage woes. Brandi had always found Kyle's image management exhausting, but now, it seemed, the cracks were showing. Mauricio's late-night escapades at various Hollywood hotspots were practically a subplot in every gossip magazine. And Kyle? She was attempting to rebrand herself as the strong, independent woman in real time, posting cryptic Instagram captions and doing interviews that begged more questions than they answered. "Oh, Kyle," Brandi muttered to herself, rewinding a particularly juicy scene for the third time. Kyle's eyes darted nervously as Dorrit Kemsley grilled her about a mysterious man spotted by her side at Coachella. The tension was palpable, Dorrit's British-adjacent accent slicing through Kyle's thinly veiled excuses. But it wasn't just Kyle in the hot seat. Erika Jayne's ongoing legal battles had taken a new twist, with fresh allegations that she'd funneled money through an elaborate web of shell companies. Erika had been defiant in her confessional, her rhinestone-studded blazer catching the studio lights. "Am I broke? Yes. Am I a fraud?" "No," she declared, practically daring anyone to challenge her. Brandi snorted at the memory. "Honey, the only thing you're guilty of is believing your own hype," she muttered, tapping out a tweet that was sure to set Twitter ablaze. Housewives Season 14 is giving crime and chaos, and I am here for it. Call me the conductor of this train wreck. #Team Truth. Of course, Brandi had her own drama to contend with this season. Her return to RHOBH had been nothing short of explosive. She'd been invited back as a friend of, a role she both loved and loathed. It gave her just enough screen time to stir the pot, but not enough to dominate the narrative. And how she'd stirred. One scene in particular had already been teased in the trailers. A fiery showdown between Brandi and Sutton Strack. Sutton, the self-proclaimed Southern belle with a penchant for culture and condescension, had made the mistake of calling Brandi's loyalty into question during a tense dinner party. Brandi had responded in classic fashion by flipping the proverbial table, albeit with words rather than furniture. "You want to talk about loyalty, Sutton?" Brandi had spat, her voice dripping with venom. "You can't even keep a friendship, let alone a man. So sit there in your overpriced dress and keep judging everyone. It's the only thing you're good at." The room had gone silent, except for Dorrit's hushed, "Oh, dear God," and Erika's low, approving chuckle. Now, as Brandi replayed the moment in her mind, she couldn't help but grin. It was vintage Brandi. Raw, unfiltered, and utterly captivating. Love her or hate her, she always left an impression. But the real drama, as far as Brandi was concerned, was the brewing feud between Kyle and Dorrit. The two women had been thick as thieves for years, but this season their friendship had hit rocky terrain. The tension had started subtly enough, a snide remark here, a passive-aggressive comment there, but it had escalated quickly. Dorrit, ever the polished perfectionist, had accused Kyle of being self-absorbed and unwilling to own her part in the group's unraveling. Kyle, in turn, had accused Dorrit of playing victim and having too much time on her hands. The real kicker, though, had been a rumor that Dorrit and Mauricio were too close for comfort. Brandi's sources, and yes, she had sources, had whispered about late-night conversations and innocent hugs that weren't so innocent. The mere idea sent shockwaves through the fandom, and Brandi had to admit she was living for it. "This is what Housewives is all about," she mused, taking a long sip of wine. Messy friendships, messy marriages, and messy truths. But even as she reveled in the chaos, Brandi couldn't help but feel a twinge of nostalgia. There was a time when she'd been the new girl, the one shaking up the status quo and challenging the Beverly Hills hierarchy. Now she was an outsider looking in, a commentator on a game she'd once played so fiercely. It was bittersweet watching the show evolve without her at its center. But then again, wasn't that the nature of reality TV? The players changed, but the game remained the same. As the episode ended, Brandi's phone buzzed with a text from a familiar name. Lisa Rinna. "Rinna, you're trending on Twitter. Again. I hope you're ready for the fallout." Brandi smirked, typing back a quick reply. Me? Afraid of fallout? Never. Call me when you're ready to spill some tea. Rinna's response came almost immediately. Tomorrow. Noon, bring wine. Brandi set her phone down, her mind already racing with possibilities. If Rinna was reaching out, it could only mean one thing. There was more drama brewing, and Brandi was determined to be at the center of it. Train wreck or not, she wasn't getting off this ride anytime soon.